Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you about the debut record from Sinner's Blood, The Mirror Star, on October 9th on Frontiers Music. The album has 11 tracks and is 47 minutes in length. Now this is an outstanding debut record because it doesn't feel, sound, or come across as one. It really comes across as a record from a band who's been around for a very long time, knows what they're doing, knows their way around a studio, and knows how to deliver a quality record, really bringing out everything that they have to offer to their audience. And all of that starts with the structure. I love the classic approach, the classic structure, dividing the album into two halves with a ballad in the middle. In this case, it was a piano-driven ballad, really stripped down, beautiful ballad that resets the ears of the listener. The first half of the album is very similar to the second half of the album, so overall, very balanced, very linear, very cohesive, but I felt that the second half was perhaps slightly heavier. So it was very important to have that ballad in the middle in order for you to get the sensation that what you're getting in the second half, while similar to the first, is slightly different. So you start to re-engage yourself with the record and you stay connected with the album across all 11 tracks. As far as the sound is concerned, this is definitely a hard rock album, but it also has some classic heavy metal and even power metal influences into it. It allows it to be a little bit more dynamic. It's not overly dynamic because there's not a lot of peaks and valleys. The only valley is really the ballad that breaks the album into two. But it still has some dynamic fluidity to it that changes from track to track, allows the album not to be repetitive or monotonous, and it gives it the enough nuances in order to keep you interested song after song after song. I was also surprised that this is not a guitar-driven album. For a band that has this kind of sound approach that went with this classic structure, I was expecting the guitars to have more of a predominant role in how the sound comes across. It's not the case. The sound is really balanced, is really equal across all the different elements. Almost like they recorded every single thing in its own lane, the drums in its own lane, the guitars in its own lane, the bass, the keyboards, and then they brought all of them together using the same amount of each one, equal portions if you will, in order to create a sound that's worth for its whole and not by one single element pushing it forward. The element that really pushes this record forward is the vocals. This is an album that was almost recorded around the vocals. Almost like they thought, what can we do? What kind of songs can we create? What kind of sound can we create that's going to elevate the quality of the vocals, put them on a pedestal, and allow them to be the driving force behind this record? That is how this album felt to me. The vocals were outstanding, phenomenal. I love the delivery, I love the tone, I love the slight changes from song to song, depending on the lyrics, depending on the mood, on the atmosphere that they created for that track. Is that track slightly heavier? Is that track a little bit more of a ballad? Depending on the mood and the delivery of the song and how it was put together, the vocals adapted to it. They adjusted ever so slightly, not to change too much across all 11 songs. That would create a little bit of a break from track to track and not allow the album to be as fluid as it is, but changing ever so slightly in order to give each song its own individual fingerprint, if you will. I also really liked the backing vocals. They used a lot of backing vocals throughout this record, and sometimes they were necessary in order to give some more volume, some more presence, not to make the tracks heavier. I don't feel like that was the intent at all. It was ordered to create a little bit more presence, a little bit more volume, make the songs feel a little bit richer, a little bit thicker from a vocal perspective, because they already feel that way from a sound approach. Overall, this is a very well-crafted record considering it's a debut album. These guys did an outstanding job, and the vocals are the beacon of this album. If you're a fan of great vocals, songs that have power, that have strength, but not necessarily overly heavy, this record is definitely for you. Now, as far as songs are concerned, I want to start off with Never Again. Beautiful guitar opening, really matched by the quality of the vocals that come right after. The song has this melodic music to it, and it's very melodic both musically and vocally. The vocals are really matching up to what you're getting as far as the sound and the overall experience out of the music that the track has in store for the listener. It still has some bite on the guitars, not too much. I felt that they tried to keep the guitars under control, allow the vocals to really shine, and allow the vocals to bring that melody out of what the guitars had to offer. So it's almost like one is squeezing all the juice out of the other in order to create this very melodic driven track that has some dynamic mechanisms to it. There are some slight changes from the verses to the chorus. The chorus is a little bit stronger, a little bit more bombastic. It has a little bit more energy, a little bit more volume to it, and some of the backing vocals added to that. But overall, is a song that just really changes when it goes from the verses to the chorus. There's a sense of crescendo to it, and you could feel like you're moving from one into the other, but it's not an abrupt change. It's not like you have a lack of transition from verses to chorus and the song feels broken. No, this is a song that flows very well from one to the other, even though one is a lot more dynamic than the other. Remember Me is another song that I really enjoyed. Great vocals on this track, using the backing vocals throughout the song, not just using them in one specific portion of the song, but using them throughout the song, allow the track to have a little bit more presence from a vocal perspective. The song is very consistent from sound-wise. It doesn't really fluctuate too much. It really stays within its parameters from beginning all the way to the end. The guitars offer a great foundation for the overall soundscape of this track. They really feel like they're there to allow the vocals to step on top of it and start to build upon it. And I love how that is put together. The chorus is very hooky, is very catchy. The vocals are outstanding, which is true on every single song on this record. I love the presence that they have. I love the warmth that they have. And then when you add that to that catchiness, to that hookiness of the chorus, you have this pure rock hit in the way this song is constructed and the way it's delivered. Last but not least, The Hunting, heavier track, perhaps one of the heaviest tracks on the album. I really felt that they added a little bit more presence on the guitars. The guitars definitely have more bite. They have a little bit more of a sound that you start to feel like it's pushing its way to the forefront, never surpassing the vocals, but definitely pushing its way a little bit more to the forefront, allowing themselves to have more of a stage than what they had in previous tracks. There's some classic heavy metal elements in this song. There's some classic power metal influences into the way this track is put together. Some of them more on the musical side, some of them more on the vocal side. I felt that vocally more chances were taken. This song feels more organic, not as restricted, more perhaps of a loss of control that works really well, that allows you to have a wider range as far as the vocals are concerned. But for a song that has this bite on the guitars, that has this edge to it, this power to it, you need to have more of an organic approach as far as vocals are concerned and push yourself to higher limits. And that's exactly what happened in this song. And overall, when you put all of those elements together, you have a stronger, heavier, more driven track. This is it, guys. This is Sinner's Blood with the Mirror Star out October 9th on Frontiers Music. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. I'll be looking forward to reading your comments and getting back to you. Take care, guys.